And coming right up is Media News number 187. We're going to talk about The Incredible Shrinking Man. It's got a new home, and we're going to talk about I Am Legend. We're also going to talk about the new addition to the Amazing Spider-Man cast. He's got a big horn in the front of his head. We're also going to talk about Star Wars casting. We're going to talk about the sequel to Skyfall, or the next James Bond film, whichever the case may be. And we're also going to cover Peter Dinklage. Oh, I don't want to give it away. Coming right up.
Too late.
Here at Alternate Reality, all new comics are 15% off every day for everybody. That's right, all my new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. All you got to do is stop in here and pick it up anytime during the 7 days that book is new. So be sure to stop off here at Alternate Reality and pick up this week's new comics for 15% off all the time, only at Alternate Reality.
Controversy? They would start something if they could. Curse their cuddliness. Here's JR and Comic Book Man with Media News.
Dumbfounded, as in the Finders of Dumb. Media News, episode 187, Afternoon Prune Juice.
Do you know what he does?
What does he do, Comic
Hey folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for
It's time for Media News.
Media News, coming to you from this place, Alternate Reality, located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all my new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. We're going to cover all the spectrums of media news in this edition of Media News, starting off with The Incredible Shrinking Man.
Hey, can I just say, one week we had to actually do a Media News from the corner of 111th and Kedzie.
Let's wait till the weather gets a little better.
Go. Go. I'm staying here.
I don't mean now.
I'm staying here. I
mean in the summertime.
Yes, in
when
the
weather is
sure,
fine.
sure. We tried that once. Remember the drunk that pulled up?
Yeah, we did it out back.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, we did out front. Remember
Oh,
the
yeah.
drunk that pulled up?
How about a dumpster Media
A
News?
dumpster meet. We've done that for we've done that for comic news. We've done
We should do one
Anyway.
from actual
The
video.
Incredible Shrinking Man.
Oh, right.
Remember the Incredible Shrinking Man?
Yes, author Richard Matheson. He's best known for I Am Legend, but he also wrote The Incredible Shrinking Man
And Duel and a whole bunch of other
and
stuff.
Duel and other things. And that property has just been picked up by
MGM. They're back in business, folks. Remember we said they had all kinds of problems? Well, this has been a banner year for MGM. They've had hit after hit. They've now acquired the rights to Richard Matheson's I Am Legend. It will be the story. It's going to be an existential action film, which is what MGM is describing it as, which was kind of how the 1957 film was as well. It had that existential ending attached to it, like Matheson's story did. It'll have updated special effects. It's going to look great. But it's coming in the next couple of years.
That's I Am Legend.
No, we're talking about The Shrinking Man.
That's what I thought. You said.
Oh, did I?
Legend.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Shrinking
Sorry,
Man.
start again.
Okay. No, I don't think so.
No.
I'll save it in the attic.
Thank
Don't worry
you.
about
Thank
it.
you. Fix it in post.
I believe the last thing that was done with the concept of the Incredible Shrinking Man was Lily Tomlin's The Incredible Shrinking Woman, which in some circles is considered quite highly, not in this circle,
No.
but in some circles is considered quite highly because it is a treatise on women's rights with Lily Tomlin. with
Yes.
Lily Tomlin.
And Merv Griffin, too, makes it.
And Merv Griffin, and it is a piece of crap.
Yes, and it is a
It
trivia
is a
note.
horrible movie.
A trivia note for you fans out there. The first directorial effort of one Mr. Joel Schumacher.
Oh, great. So whatever feminists might think about The Incredible Shrinking Woman, fine. The movie itself is a piece of crap.
Yes, it has a gorilla in it, as I recall.
Yes,
too.
it has a girl in it. Yes, it's wonderful. Okay, moving on. Comic book news.
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, the upcoming X-Men film, which Brian is
Singer.
directing, has added a new cast member.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
Game
the
of Thrones.
The little
Game
guy.
of Thrones. Yes.
The Incredible Shrinking Man.
the high
Game of Thrones. See, these segues, they just write themselves. They really do.
It had not even occurred to me as I was
Dinklage's
writing
lawyer.
this. It not even occurred to me, but that's actually quite
Yes.
good. Peter Dinklage of Game of Thrones has joined the cast of X-Men: Days of Future Past as what? You may ask.
I haven't heard. You don't.
I do know.
Oh, you
I
do
do
know.
know,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I was gonna offer something up, but go ahead.
He's Galactus.
Bolivar Trask.
Bolivar Trask.
Bolivar Trask.
The creator of the Sentinels.
The creator of the Sentinels.
I don't remember him being a little guy.
He is not a little guy, but he is now.
Okay.
But he is now.
When I had heard, being a comic book fan,
What? Since when?
comic book man, being a comic book fan, the first thing I thought of was, oh, he's playing Puck
No.
from
Alpha
Alpha
Flight.
Flight.
Well, remember,
Alpha
he
Flight.
was also pegged to be MODOK. Remember, there was talk of him playing
Oh,
MODOK.
that's right.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Now, the interesting thing about him playing Trask is that a lot of Trask's background story from the comics was used for Stryker at X2, Brian's X2. They kind of cobbled some of Trask's background for Stryker. in that film. So I don't know if Brian is going to rewrite Boulevard Trask a little bit, so he's not quite as much Stryker as Stryker.
Brian, let me give you a piece of advice. The last X-Men movie was great. Go with that.
I
Go with
hold
that.
very little hope of this new one.
I don't either. I
yeah.
don't either.
Unfortunately.
Anyway, moving on. Amazing Spider-Man 2. We have a villain, and he is.
The Rhino.
And who's playing him?
Paul Giamatti.
Who?
Paul Giamatti.
John Adams.
John Adams and who else am I leaving out?
Harvey Pekar.
Yes,
Harvey Pekar.
and he was also in the
Pekar.
wine tasting movie that
Yeah, the wine tasting
that
movie.
escapes me at the moment.
Can't help
Paul
it.
Giamatti has joined the cast, and you know this film is getting kind of top heavy because we already know that Electro
Yeah.
is in the film. We now have the Rhino. There's been buzz about Black Cat making an appearance in the film, and Harry Osborn's being introduced as well.
Well, you know what they're doing with this: action figures and Happy Meals.
Can I get mine now?
Yo, you betcha. You betcha.
I'm ready for a Paul Giamatti Happy Meal.
Speaking of superheroes who aren't superheroes, James Bond.
James
Bond.
Yep.
What is up with James Bond?
James Bond, as the aforementioned MGM, has had a huge year. The main reason for that, outside of The Hobbit doing very big business, was the huge business that Skyfall did. By the way, Skyfall is now the #6 highest grossing worldwide film of all time.
And it's the #1 grossing Bond film,
The
right?
#1 grossing Bond film, $1.1 billion and counting.
I gotta go out and see it.
I
haven't seen it
Came
yet.
out on DVD.
Yeah, it came out on
yeah.
DVD and is in my top 10 best films of the year. But anyway, Sam Mendes, who directed Skyfall and did an exemplary job on it, was originally being asked to come back and do the follow-up to Skyfall. Now, the plan MGM had at the time, and this was right after Skyfall premiered,
Yeah.
was to do the next two Bond films back to back. The scripts would be co-written as a part 1 and part 2. The films would be shot at the same time. Sam Mendes said, thanks, but no thanks. I just spent 2 years making Skyfall. I don't want to have another 5 years, making a total of 7 years making James Bond films.
The idea of doing that's a good idea, though.
It is a good
They've
idea.
never done that with James Bond, but it's a good idea doing that.
But MGM is so high on Mr. Mendes coming back that they've ditched the idea of doing 2 films back to back. The next James Bond film will be a standalone film written by John Logan, who wrote Skyfall. And now Mendes is supposedly, quote unquote, 75% in the camp to direct the next James Bond film.
So he's going to throw away another 2.5 years of his life doing James Bond.
Better to throw out 2.5 years, he figures, than another 5 years. So
Well, I can
he wants to do
understand
other
that.
things as well. And I'm sure they're cajoling him back with some extra
Oh, I'm sure.
dinero. It looks like they want the film to be out Christmas of 2014. Hard to say if that's going to make it. That's really tight. Look forward in 2015. That's my guess.
Okay, and our last story up. I don't know if you've heard, but Disney bought Star Wars.
What?
Big news. And, of course, what are they doing? A bunch of movies. What kind of movies? Nobody knows. Who's going to be in the cast?
Episodes 7, 8, and 9, as we now know,
Yes.
Episode 7 being directed by J.J. Abrams, who, according to William Shatner, by the way, is a pig.
Maybe he's
We'll
seen
get to
him-
that in another
maybe he's
media or
seen him
something.
eat.
I don't think J.J. cares.
No,
what
I don't
William
think
Shatner
J.J.
thinks.
Abrams, the man with the best resume on the
Yes,
planet
I don't
right
think
now,
he really cares what Bill thinks.
He must be talking about his truffle of money.
is directing Episode 7, which takes place several years after
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
Right.
I waffled there for a second.
Third trilogy,
Third trilogy.
it's like 20 years later, they're all a lot older, and the world has changed. The universe has changed, but they're all the same people that we all grew up with.
we all
that
are-
we grew up with.
Exactly. We all have heard that Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are attached to the film in some way, shape, or form. We don't know if they're main roles, side roles, what this is going to be. But the one name that everybody has asked about.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Lando Calrissian.
No.
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 Jar Jar Binks.
No. no. Not Jar Jar Binks.
What?
Mr. Han Solo, Harrison Ford,
And
who has always in the past sort of, as much as he said,
Poo-pooed.
he's poo-pooed it, even though he's acknowledged that it was the thing that got his career on the map,
yes, it is.
has now signed on the dotted line to return as Harrison Ford. My guess is we all
better add some
remember.
zeros
We
in
all
there,
remember back in the Return of the Jedi days, Harrison really wanted Han Solo to bite the dust.
Yes.
In Return of the Jedi, and George said, "Thanks, but no thanks." And I'm just speculating here right now. I have a feeling that Han Solo meets his end in Episode 7.
You know, it's the last 3 films of the last trilogy. Yes, 3 trilogies, been there from the beginning. I would assume they're all going to be dead by the end of the third film.
One way or
Maybe-
another.
I mean, what's the point? That would close it off. It's not like you can't do more Star Wars films. It's a big universe.
Yeah.
But the principles, I would assume, would be dead by the end,
Exactly.
end of the thing. So, yeah, Harrison Ford getting killed, Han Solo dying at some point in the 7th film or the 8th film. I mean,
I bet it's going to happen.
that's a given.
I think it's going to happen in the 7th film and will be some sort of catalyst for the narrative of the trilogy somehow, some way. It'll be part of the narrative. As a side note to the Star Wars story, Disney has also announced that not only are they doing episodes 7, 8, and 9, they are doing side project
Yes.
Star Wars films. One is supposedly about Yoda. One will be about a young Han Solo. One, well,
Go ahead and kill the old guy off. We got young Han Solo.
and one will be, I guess, about Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
supposedly. So more Star Wars than you can shake a lightsaber at.
And that's
it.
We're done. Finish. We're out of here. We got no more media news. Go to Store's website. Check out all the media news that Bo sends me that I post up, and all of this man's reviews.
Mine.
And where's the website at?
And to get to this website, all you have to do is type in www.maraltonetreality.com.
So go to the Store's website. Check out all of his reviews and all of Bo's news. Until next time, this is Comic Book Man
This is JR.
saying bye.
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.